I've got a nice little haul here of quite affordable perfumes. There are a couple here that I bought because um, I've either already had them and I wanted to bring them back, or I had like little samples and I wanted them, and then I have a few that were complete blind buys. So I'm going to start with this guy because I did actually already have this. This is the Remix Cologne from 4711, and this is the Lavender Remix. So these were a limited edition apparently, but you can still get this so easily. You can see it has some information here on the back. This I think is one of the sweeter and stronger versions of the 4711 Remix colognes. I've had a few. I still actually have a few in the flat, but they're not ones I'm keeping. They're much fresher and more citrusy. This one has a praline note, so there is a sweetness in this. But let me take this out of the box and then I'll explain why this left and then I've just bought it back. So this is the bottle. I don't really love the remix bottles. I like that they still come in the traditional 4711 colognes shape of bottle, but I wish they weren't quite so kind of messy, if you see what I mean, on the labels, because I'd quite like a classier look for this. I do think this is quite a classy and pretty perfume. The reason I bought this one back is because initially I only got rid of this because it really reminds me of the dry down of Calvin Klein Obsessed. Now, I had Obsessed for a while. I really loved the bottle. I used to really like that perfume. And then it's in one of my recent declutter videos and it has been sold since then. Just because, firstly, it's been discontinued, so I think it's quite hard to find now, and I wasn't wearing it. And the reason I wasn't wearing it is because it started to make me feel queasy. Um, I smelt someone out on the tube wearing what I think might be the intense version, which I also had at one point, of Obsessed for women. And I just found it very overwhelming and cloying. It made me feel a bit sick. And I wonder actually if it's because there's so much isoe super in it, which is a note that I always think doesn't bother me. But for some reason, I think the longer that isoe super is around me, the more it makes me feel a little bit nauseous. I find it a bit sickly if there's so much of it. So Obsessed was like elemi, lavender, sage. It had ambrette. It was musky, but it had a lot of isoe super. So the beauty of this one is that it does sort of share a similar profile in the dry down, but it's not got that same cloying isoe super feel. And it's also more citrusy in the top. It's still aromatic. You definitely get that lavender. So from the bottle, it is very much like a more citrusy take on Obsessed for women. The original one in the beautiful clear bottle. I mean, I love that bottle. Maybe that's why I'm sore about this one replacing it. Yeah. So you get a lot of lovely citruses in the top. You've got that classic cologne style citrus, you know, fresh, bright, a bit zingy. The lavender definitely comes through, and then it gets sweeter and sweeter. And then you start to get some of the other notes. So the notes in this are lavender, bergamot, lemon and mate in the top. So it's got a tea note, which is one of the reasons. I mean, lavender and tea. I sort of had to try it, you know, initially. Two of my favourite notes. Mid notes of iris, freesia and hibiscus seed. And then base notes of musk, sandalwood and praline. The praline really starts to come through and this gets quite sweet. This is a perfect perfume for bedtime, for if you need to just be chilling. It's a lovely weekend scent. It's definitely a bit sharper than Obsessed for women. You get a bit of that iris and freesia coming through for sure the more this dries down, but generally speaking it's just a musky, slightly floral, citrusy lavender with like a sweet dry down. So the top comparison though to this is Chanel number 5 Le Eau. Now, I have that perfume and I don't think it smells like this. I don't think it smells like... I can see why people are saying that it's comparable. And I think the reason is that number 5 Le Eau is really citrusy on the top and then has quite a sweet, slightly musky dry down. It's a white musk. But this one, I feel like here there is way too much lavender for it to truly smell like number 5 La Eau. So, I mean, this is not something I would compare to that. I would say, like, if you wanted an affordable take on something that smells a bit like Chanel No. 5 Le Eau, personally, I'd go for, like, Alyssa Ashley White Musk or something like that. But this is super pretty, don't get me wrong. I mean, I feel like the citrus and the musk definitely has that hint of No. 5. But the praline and the lavender and the slight powdery feel that comes through on skin when this dries down is much closer to Obsessed for Women. But yeah, I'm really glad to have this one back. I'm going to enjoy exploring it again. So yeah, one in, one out with this one. But this, I think, is a really nice perfume. You can still get hold of it for a super bargain. I think this cost me about £7, which is why I couldn't resist getting it back. So yeah, really nice one. Next up, we have something that I had a little rollerball of, and I just really wanted to actually get a spray bottle of this because I think it's lovely. This is clean. This is classic. This is the original clean. I don't really understand why they call it the original clean, because from what I can tell, this is a different perfume to the actual original clean fragrance. It has a different set of notes, and from what I've read on Fragrantica, it smells totally different. So it's very odd. Fragrantica, unfortunately, haven't added a new version of this now that they've got this in the classic range, and they have actually changed it. But again, I saw this, I think, for about £15 on Latino, so I thought I've got to have it. Oh, because it smells like my mum's laundry out of the tumble dryer, you know. That's why I really love this particular one. And when I go home and see my family, because my mum doesn't like perfumes, so I quite often take those clean rollerballs home with me. And they're a few of the things where I've actually been like, oh, do you want to smell this? And she has tried it on her skin. She still thinks it's too strong for her, but she doesn't dislike the scent of it. So this is like a safe thing for me to wear when I'm at home. And I don't think she realises that I'm wearing a perfume. I just moved my light a bit because the sun has just come round into my room, and it's really making everything look all shady and weird. Okay, so this particular perfume, the old notes are much more citrusy, and I think it did smell quite citrusy and lavendery, whereas this version really does smell like tumble dried laundry. It doesn't really have a wet smell, but it does smell like it's like clothes that have been washed with a really nice clean detergent, not like a powder detergent, but like a fancy, like Fairy Non-Bio kind of thing, you know? And then have gone in with a really nice sensitive, like comfort sensitive fabric conditioner. And then have retained that smell because they've been in the tumble dryer. That's the kind of fluffy, clean version that I get from this particular perfume, Clean Classic. So I'm ignoring the notes that are on Fragrantica, and instead I'm going to the Clean Beauty Collective website to get the notes. And on here, it describes it as a unique blend of aldehydic soapy notes. So it says, yeah, it does say a cloud of powdery softness, and I do feel like that's accurate. So you've got top notes of peony, aldehydes, and an aromatic accord, whatever that means. Middle notes of geranium, jasmine, and peppercorn. Dry down of orange blossom, musk, and sandalwood. And it's so comforting. It's so pretty. I really like this one. I'm extremely happy to have it in a spray version. I think I really like this one. I think there's one called Clean Laundry. I have a rollerball of that. My favourite is, I think it's called Simply Clean, which to be honest is pretty much this, but with quite a strong lavender in there as well. That's delicious. I love that one. And I also like Clean Skin, which is kind of, it's almost like there is that clean skin in the base of a lot of the clean perfumes, but Clean Skin is kind of sweet, and it's not like a laundry skin scent, but it is more like, I mean, it still is a skin scent, but it's more like a kind of just a clean girl without actually smelling like laundry, because that one really is quite sweet. But this one, delicious. Really love this. Very happy to have it. Really happy that I could get it for a bargain, because I don't want to spend £30 on a really tiny bottle, but I am happy to spend £15 if I can get a 30ml for this, because it's just really lovely. The last thing to say about this one is that it is compared to Byredo Blanche. I can't comment on what the old version of this used to smell like. I'd say if it's quite citrusy, it might have smelled a bit more like Blanche. This to me does not smell anything like Blanche. Blanche, I kind of get a bit of a body lotiony musk from. It is quite tangy in a way that this definitely isn't tangy. If you want something that smells like Blanche, then the thing that I've smelled that really reminds me of it, there are two actually. One is like affordable, and it's Moschino Toy 2, the one in the teddy bear bottle. That one's definitely very similar to Blanche. And then the one that is actually just bargainous is the new version of Delicious Feelings by Gayle Hayman. The new version being the one that has the more intricate lid, and it has a clear liquid rather than a more yellowy liquid, and it also has less kind of scripty font. It's a much more upright kind of square font. That one, I mean, those two perfumes, the original and the new version, smell totally different. But the new version smells a bit like Blanche, so I'm just throwing it out there. Moving on to the blind buys. I honestly, I only got this one, Sånd and Sable, because a few people have mentioned it in my comments before. It was an insanely cheap price because it's just a little 11ml. Sånd and Sable is an old Coty perfume. Oh, it's got notes on the back. When did this come out? Let's have a little look. Oh, I'm just going to put this there to just show how completely overpackaged and ridiculous that is. But anyway, they do insist on absolutely wasting cardboard. So this is Sånd and Sable from Coty. Apparently from 1981, which is the year before I was born. So this perfume has been around for longer than I have. Many perfumes have been around for longer than I have, but I mean, the thing is, I knew I wasn't going to be digging this one. I just wanted to smell it. The reason that this is not really my jam is that it's a beachy floral, which people describe things as beachy florals, tropical florals. To me, what that tends to mean is buttery florals. This one's gardenia, tuberose, jasmine, peach, green notes, and rose. So let me just have a look and see what it says on the back. Yeah, it says gardenia, tuberose, jasmine, and rose. Yeah. But the peach makes sense to me, as do the green notes. I do think this perfume smells exactly like it is described. The thing with this, I don't like buttery florals. I don't like beachy florals. I don't like lotiony florals. And that's this kind of perfume. But this is a very affordable version of that very popular profile. I would say I can smell the peach quite clearly in this. And it's the kind of classic Coty peach that you get in Exclamation, for instance, which is a syrupy peach that I don't like. I realise I'm making myself sound very, very fussy, but to be fair, my channel is called Skin Scents for Fusspots, so I am fussy. I'm wondering if I scroll down and this is a perfume, does it say who it's made by? Oh, that's a shame. It's just giving me absolute vibes of Exclamation. So I was wondering if it was the same perfumer. It might be. I imagine this is a very watered down and light version of the original, because all of the Coty perfumes have been absolutely watered down to be almost unrecognisable. But the thing I find with like buttery florals is that they last on me for like eternally. And I can really smell this one so clearly from the sprayer. I think this is a relatively strong scent. But yeah, it's like a peachy version of... Just trying to think of how I would compare this. It's a peachy version of something like Tocca's Florence. That's a very, very buttery gardenia. It also has a little bit of that kind of Kim Kardashian-y, you know, the original one, that one. Oh, and Jovan Island Gardenia. This one is not as strong and not quite as buttery because it has that fruity element that I think is changing it up a little bit. But it is in that kind of realm. And Island Gardenia, I did have a bottle once of that. Yeah, so I mean, I think if you like buttery florals, if you like beachy florals, I think that this could be an absolute bargain, like a really, really good perfume to invest in, and it's definitely stronger than most of the other things I've tried from Coty recently. Genuinely, a lot of Coty perfumes nowadays, like the remakes, the reformulations of the old perfumes, I can't even smell them anymore. Like I can't even smell them when I spray them, whereas this one's actually quite strong. So I do recommend Sånd and Sable. I think this one is really good. Next up, I have a couple of perfumes from Philosophy. So I'm just going to put this here. This is Amazing Grace, and this is the Eau de Parfum Intense. Now then, I was never going to pay full price for this. I haven't been able to get a sample of it. So when I saw it for around £25 online, I was like, I'm just going to blind buy it and try it, because I did think I would probably be able to sell this one on without too much trouble, because it's relatively new and it's not easy to find everywhere. Now, I don't actually like Amazing Grace, the original version, but I was just kind of fascinated by this one. I've heard The Scented talking about this and saying it's really lovely, so I was just quite interested to see what it smelled like. I thought the notes looked interesting. I have a few Philosophy perfumes I really like. I love Falling in Love. That one is still in my collection. I like A Pop of Sun. That one's beautiful. There's one called Summer Moments that really reminds me of Joe Malone's Wood, Sage and Sea Salt. That one is excellent. And then obviously I've got Fresh Cream. I've got Fresh Cream Soft Suede. I've got some of the body spritzes, the Fresh Cream and Mint, Fresh Cream and Honey. The tail goes on. So I just thought I might as well try these two that I'd been looking at. So this particular one, let's take it out. It's got a really beautiful bottle. I think they've done a really nice job of this. It's very pretty. And I think it gives away that this has got berries in it, right? So shake out the bubbles. So this is the new Amazing Grace Eau de Parfum Intense. I think they already had like an Amazing Grace Intense, or maybe they've got like an Eau de Parfum and an Eau de Toilette. This one has top notes of raspberry and wild strawberry, mid notes of rose and base notes of musk. Now I am assuming there's far more in here than that, especially if it's based on the original Amazing Grace. I'm just going to spray this out real quick again. I really don't like this. I was so sad when I smelt this. So, and again, this isn't going to be a problem for everyone, because I am 100% sure that the problem I'm having here is down to certain aroma chemicals. Now, there are certain modern aroma chemicals that I find absolutely head splitting, and this is full of those aroma chemicals. This has a literal needle in the eye effect on me. It smells a little bit alcoholic at first, and then it turns into the screechiest rose and raspberry I've ever smelt. And I have smelt a lot of rose and raspberries that I find screechy. I literally just had one in my previous haul from Miu Miu that smelt screechy. I've tested So Sweet by Marc Jacobs. That one's really screechy. Beyond Romance from Ralph Lauren. That one's really screechy. I find Delina horribly screechy. I don't know if that's got raspberry in it, but a fruity rose. And this is that same thing. And it also then has this kind of, it doesn't entirely smell like tar, but it has a very bitter synthetic woody smell in it as well. I genuinely think this smells like poison. That is a very personal thing. My nose really doesn't like some of the modern aroma chemicals at all. I'm absolutely fine with all the aroma chemicals from like the 80s, 90s, 70s. Even early 2000s, and then kind of I past 2005 they just started to change, or maybe the amount that they put in, like perfumers use, started to change, and there's fewer naturals and more of the synthetics. But this is a nightmare for me. Oh God. Oh, I'll have to edit it out so it doesn't blow your ears out, but I just properly had a few sneezes and my nose is still tingling. So like I said, this is not the perfume for me. Unfortunately, Amazing Grace Eau de Parfum Intense is an absolute disaster for my nose, so I would not recommend this one. I'm not sure it's worth taking a chance on. If you can get, if you like Delina and you like the other perfumes I mentioned, you might be fine with this. But if you wander, definitely try to get a sample of this if you can, because, you know, I've just spent 25 quid on something that I think smells toxic. So, you know, never mind. So next up, I got Radiant Grace. And again, I just saw this one for around about, I think it was £25 again, maybe a bit less actually for this one. And this has got really glowing reviews. So I really thought this would be interesting to see what it smells like. Oh, and also I forgot to mention with the other ones, I think these are vegan and cruelty free. They're recyclable. So they're like ethically, I think, a really nice brand. There are only 3 notes listed for Radiant Grace. I feel like I got this for a bargain because because this is a bit wonky on it. That kind of thing drives me a bit mad because I think full price this bottle would be £60. So yeah, maybe stick the labels on properly, guys. It's got this nice silver on it though, which is kind of cool. So Radiant Grace, this is another eau de parfum. They only list black cherry, jasmine and sandalwood on this one. And I don't find this as offensive as the Amazing Grace eau de parfum, but I do also think this does smell quite chemically as well. Yeah, it definitely does. It does have a very pretty cherry in it. I don't know, I wouldn't smell this and think just of black cherry myself, but I don't know if that's because there's an aroma chemical here that's giving me a sharpness that kind of somehow takes away from this actually smelling like black cherry. Now, I don't think I have any perfumes that have black cherry in, because the best one is Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, but I'm not going to pay that kind of price. And I've never smelt a dupe that's quite as nice as it or captures that cherry. And the Kayali Burning Cherry has a gorgeous black cherry note that properly smells like black cherry. But I don't like the dry down of that because it's that classic Kayali. It's too woody. It's quite synthetic. It's got loads of patchouli. You know, it turns into something different in the dry down. But yeah, if Kayali could just make a perfume that was that black cherry in a lighter and less chemically kind of version, I would love it. But this one, I think, is nowhere near as problematic as the Eau de Parfum Intense of the Amazing Grace. Radiant Grace, I can see why people like this. There's something in it that reminds me of the Philosophy Pop of Sun that I have. It smells kind of somewhere in that region, but it's a different kind of fruit. That one is, that has like mate tea in it, or matcha tea actually in it. And it has like tropical fruits like passion fruit, that kind of thing. It's quite zingy. It's a little bit lotiony. But this one, I'd say it's got exactly the same jasmine in it that this does. But when I compare this, I thought I'd spray them each on each arm and try them. Pop of Sun makes this one smell way more synthetic. It kind of alerts me to the issues that I have with this. Black cherry, jasmine and sandalwood is all they're saying, but I just don't believe that can be true. I'm sure that there's far more going on in this particular perfume, but yeah, because it really does have a bit of a classic philosophy scent to it, so I feel like there's a much wider range of notes. There's probably way more florals than that. I'm pretty sure there's musk in this. It's much nicer than the Eau de Parfum Intense. I feel like this would be a much safer thing to buy for most people. But if you are as sensitive as I am to aroma chemicals, to modern aroma chemicals, this one might also not be very safe for you. So that's what I'd say about this. I think it's an okay perfume. It's not one I feel like I need to keep because I don't think it's my kind of perfume. If it wasn't so chemically, I'd probably really like this. But yeah, it just does. It's got that little bit of something screechy and uncomfortable that I just can't quite get along with. It's definitely slightly powdery. Yeah, it's perfectly pretty, but it's not really amazing. So this is one I've been looking at for ages. Oh, it's almost too tall to fit in. This is Rise from Beyonce, and I think this is just the original pillar fragrance. I think there have been some flankers of this, but yeah, this is just the original Eau de Parfum. Doesn't really say anything on it. I was just looking at this one ages ago and I saw it for cheap on Direct Cosmetics, so I thought I would try it out. It comes in this rather ostentatious and ugly bottle. Oh, I really don't like this bottle, but I do think that this is a really good value perfume. So I'm going to spray this out. To be honest, it's a decent strength. I can still smell it on the paper that I sprayed it on maybe a month ago. Okay. Ooh, good sprayer as well. Okay. I'm not quite sure. I feel like this lid is supposed to be like that. I think it looks so silly, but I guess it's supposed to be some kind of fireworky type thing. I'm not sure. So this is a perfume that, especially when it dried down, I kind of felt like I recognized. But I bought it because I thought it had quite interesting notes, and it has a basil note, and I kind of like basil in perfumes, so I really wanted to just see what this one smelled like for a good price, of course. So the top notes are apricot, bergamot and basil. The mid notes are orchid, jasmine, sambac and freesia. The base notes are cashmere wood, musk, woodsy notes and vetiver. This is pretty sweet. It doesn't describe having anything in it that's particularly sweet, but it's almost like it's got praline or something in it when it dries down. But it does start with a brightness and a sharpness. You can definitely sense there's some bergamot and apricot in it. You get that interesting greenness from the basil, but then it turns into this kind of musky, sweet, cashmere woody, slightly jasmine-y, almost body lotion-y, creamy scent. And when it's on my skin, it definitely does smell quite similar to YSL Manifesto. So I have a little sample of Manifesto. That's one I never felt I needed to buy a bottle of, even though I love that bottle, because I find it quite sweet, and because it almost veers into that body lotion territory in terms of its texture, not necessarily the easiest thing to wear. But the thing with Manifesto is it does also have this kind of odd green feel in the top of that perfume, but it's got that vanilla tonka dry down that gives that kind of creamy feel. The lotion, I think the lotiony kind of smell, I think, is coming from the florals, and I feel like it's the same in this. So I definitely am getting a little bit of a feel. Yeah, the more it dries down, the more it starts to morph into something that smells quite similar to Manifesto. Yeah, so I genuinely think this could be a really nice alternative to something like Manifesto if you can get it for a good price. I mean, you do have to put up with this rather obnoxious bottle, but I think that, like, for the price, this probably cost me about £7. And I mean, this is just a 30ml, but I mean, I might just keep hold of this in case I am craving that like Manifesto-y scent. I have had a perfume before that it's called Woman's Secret, that I think is supposed to be some kind of dupe for Manifesto, but that one doesn't really have the green notes in it, and it goes even more lotiony than the original Manifesto. I feel like in a way this one is a little bit closer to Manifesto. It might be a little bit more fruity in a way. But yeah, the more it dries down, the more it starts to really just turn into Manifesto. So somewhere in here, there's definitely tonka and vanilla that isn't being listed necessarily in the notes. And it will probably come as no surprise to you that the perfumer for this is the same perfumer who made Manifesto. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. He's basically just recreated an affordable version of Manifesto. So I think that this one is a really good value perfume. And if you like Manifesto, or you wanted to know what Manifesto smells like, but you don't want to spend money, like genuinely, you could probably buy a bottle of Rise for about the same price that you would pay for a sample plus postage to get Manifesto. So yeah, this is a good one. So last but definitely not least is this little pen spray of Mugler cologne. This is Heal Your Mind. So this is the one that comes with a blue liquid, and I'm excited to talk to you about this one, guys, because I've been looking at this one for ages, and again, I really like lavender perfume, so I was just kind of fascinated as to what this would smell like. Just wanted to know what it was like. This is supposed to be unisex, and it totally is unisex. I'm just going to spray some out so I can remind myself. So, Mugler Cologne, Heal Your Mind. This starts off in a kind of different place than where it ends up. It just lists lavender and ambergris. So, I mean, again, I feel like there's no way that those are the only notes that are in this, but that's all that's listed. And it does start off with a lot of lavender. It smells super aromatic. It's really nice. It smells, I'd say, slightly more masculine when you first spray this. When you spray it out, you get hit. I think there's some kind of citrus in here. There's definitely a ton of lavender. You do get that slight hint of something salty from the ambergris, which I'm really digging and I really like. And it's aromatic, it's really pretty. I mean, there's definitely citrus in here, I can smell it. But it's interesting because I kind of sprayed this out and I was like, yeah, it's okay. It's got that classic kind of lavender cologne smell about it that to me just smells a little bit masculine. I don't know if this one's for me. And then I just left it alone and let it dry down. Now, this takes, I would say, maybe 10 minutes to turn into what it will then stay as on skin. And I'm extremely happy to tell you that what this ends up turning into smells very, very similar to Calvin Klein CK2. Now, I mean, that is the top comparison on Fragrantica as well. But I was kind of looking at the notes and thinking, really? I'm not sure about that. And that's why I'm absolutely sure that there are way more notes in here than ambergris and lavender and whatever citruses I can smell in the top. Because CK2 is a stunning, beautiful petrichor perfume which smells like cold rain on hot pebbles. I have a bottle of that. It's now been discontinued. It's very hard to find and it's extremely expensive to buy. Whereas this one you can get for affordable prices. I've seen it a few places. And in a similar way actually to CK2, whatever it is that's in this that smells like CK2 really hangs around on the skin despite it being a cologne. CK2 lasts literally forever. That one is an eau de parfum. You will smell it on you all day. This one, obviously not quite as strong, but it does really hang around. It really is a good skin scent. So yeah, I feel like there's probably some hedione in here. I imagine there's something even more petrichor-y than there is kind of, I mean, ambergris obviously is a bit more seasidey. It's got that salty touch. But, I mean, just to give you an explanation of the smell of CK2, CK2 has notes of wasabi and violet and mandarin. It's got pebbles, it's got hedione, it's got mandarin orange, it's got iris, it's got rose, and I can really smell the rose in there. It's got musk, vetiver, incense and sandalwood. It has loads of notes. You really smell the pebbles. It's totally amazing. I think hedione, that's something I've smelled in other perfumes as well. And I feel like there's some of that in here probably. There's probably some iris in here once it dries down. Yeah, you're definitely, I mean, on skin, this is slightly different than it is on here, I would say. But you're definitely getting some citruses here, and it's like you get the peel of the citruses as well. You've got something almost rocky and pebbly, and you've got something a bit salty. You've got aromatics. I feel like there's some kind of musk in here. And yeah, I mean, I just think if you've been wanting to try CK2 and you haven't been able to get your hands on it, or if you like CK2 and you can't buy it anymore and you've run out, this one might be a good one to try. And because you can get it in these small things, you can see if you like it. Because like I said, when I first tried this and when I first sprayed it on my skin, I was like, I feel like I smell like a dude who's just wearing a lavender cologne, a citrus lavender cologne. And then I kind of left it. And then the next time I smelt it, I was like, I'm wearing CK2. And I love and have CK2. So I think that this might be a nice alternative. And I hope it will fill the gap for people who really like CK2 and haven't managed to get a bottle of it to either replace one they've run out of or, just if they wanted to test it. So yeah, that is the last thing in this haul. So that was Mugler, I don't know why I struggle to say it so much, Mugler Cologne in Heal Your Mind. And thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you've got any of these and what you think. And I'll see you soon with another video. Bye guys.